Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio, desde New Haven, Connecticut, al mundo.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes. So happy to be here with you today. And we have a special guest, someone who has been in the co-creating work of a kinder and more just world for decades. Our very own President James Rawlings of the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, Connecticut, Inc. And I want to get right into celebrating this association where folks from Connecticut, Southern Connecticut, from New Haven said, we have to do something about this. In a time where there was no funding, where there was very little medical research interest, as well as treatment for sickle cell disease, that disproportionately impacts Black and Brown community members, not just here in Connecticut, but nationally as well as globally. And before we dive into what beautiful announcement, do not turn that dial, want to really couch our conversation in the understanding that sickle cell as a disease was really discovered as a blessing in spaces and places where mosquitoes flew rampant, and once they sucked your blood, you had a high probability of malaria, which is an after effect of virus, or I can't remember what it is, but the malaria symptoms actually used to kill people by the hundreds, by the thousands, and the human body was able to mutate and change so that the red blood vessels, the red blood cells in our blood carry oxygen, and it carried the cure against malaria. But unfortunately, humankind has been able to live a lifespan much longer than when malaria was killing human beings and our bodies found a cure. But to live beyond that lifespan in a healthy way, the very cure against malaria that allowed the genetic pool to move across generations, actually now, as we live longer lives, we find that it also creates havoc in the human body. So essentially, the sickle cell, it's called sickle cell because the red blood cell takes the shape of what someone would say like an S. It's thinner, not as round as the regular red blood cells are found. And so we are trying to find a cure for sickle cell. Malaria is not in Western countries, modern countries, malaria is not the threat that it once was. And so what was once a cure, a fight against malaria that allowed people to have children and they have children, sickle cell passes on through the genes. But now that we're living longer, we are looking for a cure for the deformation of the red blood cell so that people can live longer. And without further ado, welcome President James Rawlings. I hope I did service in my quick explanation as to why this is so important.
You did a wonderful job. You sound like a researcher with a PhD.
Thank you for that. And
Oh,
so I just want to translate really quickly as well the welcoming for folks. Um, uh, Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Capriz y como siempre aquí estamos con Juntos Podemos, donde celebramos co-creadores de personas que están ayudando a crear un mundo más justo y más gentil. Y con nosotros tenemos el presidente de la Asociación contra la Enfermedad de Células Falciformes de América, basado aquí en Connecticut, el presidente James Rawlings. Y esta enfermedad impacta a la comunidad negra y latinos también. Fue algo que una fortaleza del cuerpo del ser humano para poder cambiar la forma de las células rojas de la sangre, que lleva oxígeno a diferentes partes del cuerpo. Pero en unos tiempos, muchos años atrás, la malaria, una enfermedad que mató una gran cantidad de seres humanos por picazón de zancudo nomás. Y la malaria todavía impacta ciertas partes del mundo, pero no al nivel donde tenía una gran matanza por la transmisión detrás de el piquete de un zancudo. Y el cuerpo del ser humano en esos tiempos pudo cambiar para fortalecer el cuerpo contra la malaria y genéticamente cambió la forma del glóbulo celular rojo en la sangre a una forma como si fuera como una S, más delgado, no tan redondo como célula roja normal. Y de esa manera, siendo más delgado, pudo proteger al ser humano para poder tener hijos. Y de allí muchas generaciones tuvieron hijos, pero ahora el ser humano vive más tiempo. Y esa célula que cambió para poder proteger la vida y el futuro del ser humano, ahora que estamos viviendo más tiempo, causa problemas graves en el cuerpo por esa forma abnormal. La enfermedad, células falciformes, apoyó a que nosotros podíamos existir, especialmente en las partes tropicales, donde hay muchos zancudos, pero ahora que vivimos más años, hay que encontrar una forma de cambiar lo que es una herencia que nos ayudó, salvó a la humanidad en ciertas partes del mundo, pero ahora no con una vida larga y sin complicaciones de salud. Por eso hay una gran esfuerzo ahora detrás de la Asociación de América contra la Enfermedad de Células Falciformes para recaudar fondos para aumentar investigaciones médicas científicas para encontrar tratamiento para eliminar esta enfermedad celular y eliminar la herencia de esta enfermedad celular, porque la malaria ahora no es tan grave, porque tenemos otras maneras de protegernos, en curarnos contra la malaria. Y para nuestra comunidad latina, especialmente con descendencia africana, hay una alta probabilidad de herencia de la enfermedad de células falciformes. Y con nosotros tenemos el presidente James Rawlings. Thank you for your patience as I translated it into Spanish.
oh.
And so, can you share with me a little bit of the backstory? Who approached whom to create this association? Because when it came to racism in our medical community, in the scientific community, where such a large portion of the human population, especially in parts throughout Africa and parts throughout Latin America, where there might be limited resources for research and science, greater limitations than here in the US, there was not much of an interest in sickle cell before this association was created. Can you say a little bit more? Whom called whom to action?
This organization has been around for 30 plus years. And I think many of the original board members had children with sickle cell disease. And many of them worked in hospitals. So they saw the need for advocacy and support because up until 1970, babies with sickle cell disease, the infant mortality rate was 50% in America. And it wasn't until 1970 that they introduced penicillin, and then we've evolved ever since then. But I think the more important point there, and since we're only have a few minutes, I built the first sickle cell program, adult program in Connecticut and at the Yale New Haven Hospital. And when I retired, many of the firemen approached me about the racism that the EMS system had. And that's been a point of contention where many of the resources that we have to deal with awareness from the Black and brown community, but also the awareness from non-minorities relative to the crisis. I had invited one of my Hispanic board members who often accompanies me when we do these kind of presentations. His name is Frank, let's just say that. And I have a third of my board members who are Hispanic. So that's how pervasive it is. Okay. Can you?
Yes, I'll translate.
Yes.
El presidente James Rawlings dijo de que esta asociación fue creada hace como unos 30 años atrás. Fue formada porque muchos de los miembros de la primera junta directiva tenían hijos que sufrían de síntomas de esta enfermedad de células falciformes. Y muchos de ellos también eran trabajadores en el hospital. Y formaron para poder abogar a que haya recursos para apoyar a la comunidad con esta enfermedad. En los 1970, aquí en los Estados Unidos, un país con mucho recurso para los quienes sufrían de la enfermedad celular falciformes, tenían 50% de bebés se morían. Los infantes se morían, 50% de ellos. Hasta que en 1970 introducieron el uso de penicilina y de allí los tratamientos hubo una evolución. Y los programas de adultos en Yale, aquí en New Haven, sobre la enfermedad de células falciformes, fueron facilitadas por el señor James Rawlings. Y antes de retirarse, él tuvo unas conversaciones con los bomberos acá locales y le dejaron saber a él de que el racismo impactaba en los casos de personas que tenían síntomas graves de células falciformes de esa enfermedad. El racismo negativamente impactaba cuando tenía una llamada de emergencia para las personas aquí en Connecticut. Y por eso la asociación, uno de los enfoques de prioridad es crear la sabiduría entre la comunidad sobre esta enfermedad que impacta a muchas personas negras y nosotros también como latinos. Para las personas negras y latinas es algo crítico saber sobre esta enfermedad y los recursos que existen hoy en día y también la abogacía porque merecemos más. y uno de los miembros de la junta directiva, Frank, que es un latino, trabaja bien fuerte sobre este tema, apoyando la asociación, más cada 3 personas en la junta directiva de la asociación son latinos, 1/3 de la asociación son latinos, porque este tema es sumamente importante mantenernos al día. And so fast forward 30 years, there have been some wonderful discoveries around the potential for a cure for sickle cell disease. June 12th of 2023, Health Day News shared that 4 patients underwent a new gene therapy that they found to be safe and they found to be successful in curing sickle cell. This is huge, which is to say only 4, and there's so many things that we can't control in 4 patients. Just because it worked with 4 doesn't mean that it'll work on the large mass majority of folks. But it is to say the importance that the association such as yours has played in the field to continue saying we need and deserve funding for this research because treatment is possible. So the funds that people donate to the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, Connecticut, Inc., have not gone into an abyss. They have actually gone to get us closer and closer to a cure in saving lives. I have a dear friend who is an artist here in New Haven who has sickle cell, and he's in his late 40s, and there are very few people that he's been with through treatment growing up in Connecticut that are alive to this day to his age. He's an elder with sickle cell at this time. It's a miracle that he's still alive because it shuts down your organs. Wherever the blood goes, it can shut down your organs. And he has died 3 times and revived, including the second time by his son, who was then in high school, who found a paddle while he was visiting him in school and revived his heart back to beating, and then took him immediately to the hospital. So what we're talking about, whatever funds people give, whatever research time that's given, we are so close. We could actually save lives. And there might be people working with us, talking to us, who might not even know they have sickle cell. So the awareness is so important, right? And preventing their loss of death, because if the doctors know they have sickle cell, they'll deal with the symptoms that are showing up in a different way.
Yep.
And timing is so key. So I just want to say thank you so much. And before I translate that, you came to share with us a very important announcement. What is that?
Well, it's the there's a walk and run that we normally do, and it is held every 4th Saturday in September. And we are now a statewide organization. We used to be Southern Connecticut only in New Haven County. But this will be our first statewide event. And so most of the urban centers will be in place and participating. So we'll have individuals from Hartford, individuals from Bridgeport, and individuals from New Haven. I think that's about 90% of the sickle cell community, because most individuals who have sickle cell disease are dependent upon hospitals. And so up in Hartford, there's UConn Health Center, which is a clinical treatment center. Down here in New Haven, Yale New Haven Hospital is a clinical treatment center. And in Bridgeport Hospital is somewhat of a clinical treatment center because the same physicians who lead Yellow Haven Hospital, they rotate through Bridgeport Hospital. But this is going to be kind of a significant event. We will be doing sickle cell testing, trait testing.
For free.
That's important. We do sickle cell trait testing down here in New Haven. It's called Michelle's House. But the idea, we have moved away from all of our emphasis being on the cure, because we know that it's a genetic disease. So the lack of awareness with your sickle cell trait status can, in fact, end up with a baby with sickle cell disease. And in those 3 urban areas, there's only a 65% single-headed households. So most of the times males.
You said 65%.
Yeah. Oh yes, very much so. And so most of the males are not in those families, but they are driving through the lack of awareness of their trait status, babies who are born with sickle cell disease.
Mm-hmm. I'll translate this. El señor James Rawlings invitan a todos a que participen. Cada año hacen el 4º sábado en septiembre. La comunidad se puede reunir y apoyar la asociación contra la enfermedad de células falciformes. Y en este momento, en estos días, no se enfocan tanto como prioridad en investigación científica, pero más en levantar la sabiduría, reconocimiento de esta enfermedad en nuestras comunidades. Y la mayoría de los quienes participan con la asociación es a nivel estatal, especialmente desde Hartford, Bridgeport, New Haven, donde 90% de las personas encontradas que tienen enfermedad sickle cell aquí en Connecticut viven en esas ciudades, porque para poder sobrevivir necesitan poder adquirir asistencia médica de lo inmediato y asistencia que saben cómo lidiar con esta enfermedad, y por eso muchos viven cerca de los hospitales que hacen tratamiento, tienen un centro clínica de tratamiento para esta enfermedad, como por ejemplo dependen en el hospital clínico, el centro de clínica en Yukon, y también el que está ubicado dentro de el hospital Yale New Haven. Y es sumamente importante que uno haga el examen en sus hijos, que uno mismo se hace el examen, porque 65% de los hogares acá en Connecticut de nuestra comunidad es de muchas mamás solteras. Es decir, no saben tal vez profundamente cuáles son los problemas de salud que tiene el padre de los hijos. Y si el padre también no comunica con su pareja y con sus hijos que ellos cargan la herencia de esta enfermedad, células falciformes, si ellos mismos no saben cómo pueden comunicar y advertir a las familias que también se deben de tratar como si tuvieran esta enfermedad, porque en casos de cualquier cosa que pasa, los síntomas, la sangre fluye por todos los órganos y las glóbulas con la forma malformadas pueden causar todo tipo de problemas con todo tipo de órganos en el cuerpo. Es decir, si uno no sabe, el tratamiento en el hospital no va a ser adecuado para apoyar en los casos de enfermedad de células falciformes. Es sumamente importante que se hagan la prueba. Y para el sábado, el el cuarto sábado de septiembre, va a haber de gratis para poder examinar su sangre o la de sus hijos si tienen esta enfermedad. Y si lo tienen, de allí aprender sobre los recursos y cómo manejar mejor esta enfermedad. Y yo le conté en inglés a la comunidad y también al presidente James Rawling. Tengo un gran amigo que padece de esta enfermedad acá en Connecticut, en New Haven, y mucha gente lo conoce y él ya tiene casi en los últimos años de 40, ya llegando a los 50, y muchos que tienen esta enfermedad no viven, no pasan de los 50, no pasan de los 40. Él ya es un anciano con esta enfermedad, porque muchos no pasan de temprana edad ahora. Consideremos de que ya a los 40 uno todavía es joven, ¿verdad? Entonces, es sumamente importante que se examinen y que sepan si los hijos lo tienen para poder de allí apoyar a los hijos en cómo poder vivir una vida sana, fuerte y larga si se encuentra con la enfermedad de células falciformes. Y hay una casa acá que se llama la Casa de Michelle, y allí hacen los exámenes durante todo el año gratuito, pero para este maratón o corrido, uno puede caminar, puede correr, puede andar en bicicleta, pero más que todo pueden examinarse en apoyar contra esta enfermedad falciformes de las células. Thank you for your patience. So we're all caught up in Spanish. And so what time does this wonderful, it sounds like a celebratory of life, getting aware, getting tested, getting prepared to live a healthy, long life with resources. I believe knowledge is power. So you're saying the fourth Saturday in September is a huge celebration. Where and what time, and how can people get engaged?
Well, it's a walk, run, and bike ride. It's at East Rock Park. It starts at 9 o'clock. Based on the venue that you're involved in, either walk, run, or bike ride, it gets off at about 12 o'clock or something like that. But that's not the end of the program, because we actually we'll be doing CPR training that day, and most of us live in urban areas, and we're involved in a lot of trauma, but we don't understand CPR, and we can save a life. And it's just like when you were talking about your friend with paddles. I'm in many rooms, and I'm the only one who's CPR trained. And that doesn't help me. But that evening, there will be another event that evening that will be very supportive, because it's around awareness. And so there's going to be something at Worsley Hall where it's jazzing for sickle cell disease.
Oh, nice. Jazz for sickle cell.
Jazzing for sickle cell disease. And Worsley Hall is about 2,000 capacity. So there's a young lady named Lisa Fluka who will be putting that on. She's world-renowned, recently involved. But it's the first time. I look at a lot of the venues, just like the walk and the run, as really opportunities for awareness. Because if we can save a life through awareness, and someone understands that they're sickle cell trait positive, that baby won't be born. And so that's a life of suffering and everything else. I understand the fact that I may need, or we may need, resources. But if we can save a life, I'll take that any day for $1. Okay? All right?
And is there a cost to participate in this glorious day in support?
yeah, you can go right to Michelle's House website, and I think they use Eventbrite or something like that. But the entire social media thing is really on the website, on our website. So you can negotiate not only the teams, but sometimes there are teams who actually walk and run and bike ride, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's another one where you can do individual walking and running. Then you can even donate if you're real busy that day. And the same thing that same website will be hosting the Jasmine for sickle cell disease. Okay.
Oh, excellent.
You know.
Thank you. So I'm going to translate.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Aquí tenemos la invitación para el cuarto sábado del mes de septiembre, entonces se pueden preparar para caminar, correr o andar en bicicleta. Empieza en el parque East Rock, aquí en New Haven, a las 9 de la mañana, pero la invitación es a nivel estatal. Y después, cuando se termina lo de correr, caminar o andar en bicicleta, va a haber un entrenamiento muy importante que se llama CPR para ayudar a saber cómo resucitar a alguien, ayudarlos a poder respirar, a que el corazón empiece a sonar, porque lamentablemente es clave saber esta técnica, especialmente si uno está trabajando con personas que tienen esta enfermedad o para sus hijos o para familia que uno quiere, para poder resucitarlo. Y mi amigo, quien yo conté sobre él antes, él ya se ha muerto 3 veces, el corazón paró, él paró de respirar y su hijo de la escuela secundaria sabía CPR, cómo resucitarlo, y utilizó esas planchas electrónicas y se los puso en el pecho y con eso revivió a su papá para poder llevarlo a una ambulancia de emergencia al hospital. Y muchas veces él ha tenido que recibir sangre para poder seguir viviendo. Y pueden entrar en la página del internet que es de la casa de Michelle. En inglés, la página dirección es Michelle, Micheles, y en inglés casa, house.org. And so the website, for those who are interested in registering to this wonderful day, fourth Saturday of September at East Rock Park, is michelleshouse.org. That's MICHELESHOUSE, michelleshouse.org. Y también, no se pierdan, va a haber también un gran concierto de la música jazz, también apoyando a esta asociación para poder seguir compartiendo con la comunidad lo importante de examinarse, conocer bien los síntomas y poder salvar vidas. Y 1000 gracias por escuchar y espero verlos en esa fecha porque ya voy a limpiar mi bicicleta, llenar las llantas con aire y empezar a practicar un poco mi balance para participar en mi bicicleta ese día en septiembre. No debe de haber tanto calor como hemos tenido estos últimos días. Y que pasen un lindo día y ahora vamos a traducir el mensaje de último que tiene el presidente James Rowling de esta asociación. And so I am so looking forward to dust off my bike I've been promising myself that I'll get back on the bike this year, and I have not. So I'm going to make a point of this month inflating my tires with air, getting on that bike so that I don't fall when I show up at the fourth Saturday of September. So I'm looking forward to being there then. And I'm looking forward to seeing folks in our community. It really sounds like a joyous occasion. And I want to learn CPR. I took training years ago, but I know that my certification is no longer valid. We never did anything related to the paddles, so that says how long ago it was.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was. AMR is doing the training for that, and it's compression. There's lots of things that can happen relative to courses. There's a pediatric CPR aspect to it. It's full compression and advanced, et cetera, et cetera. But this is an opportunity for individuals to really start to become servants within their community and resources. But I want to get back to the one thing that we've waited for 120 years for the drug companies to get into research for sickle cell disease. And you mentioned some of the newer clinical options. But we cannot wait for the new clinical options because every day there's a new baby born with sickle cell disease. So we have to take what's in our hand. And we have to take what's in our hand and be able to say to our families and our friends, do you know your sickle cell trait status? Because if we take the sickle cell trait status in the communities we have, we can actually reduce the birth rate of babies with sickle cell disease. And sometimes you can abdicate the responsibilities and just wait for someone to have a magic bullet. But within our communities, we have the ability to make sure and protect our own communities.
Mm-hmm. El presidente James Rawlings dice, no podemos esperar a que los científicos pueden crear una fórmula para de una vez eliminar esta enfermedad celular. Y nosotros tenemos herramientas hoy mismo para poder disminuir el impacto negativo en nuestras comunidades, en nuestras familias. Cada día hay un bebé, dice el presidente Rawlings, aquí que nace con la enfermedad celular y podemos eliminar, reducir la cantidad de bebés que sufran por esta enfermedad. Nosotros tenemos la habilidad, capacidad de proteger a nosotros mismos mientras las compañías farmacéuticas hacen lo que tienen que hacer. Esperamos nosotros como comunidad ya unos 120 años a que ellos encuentren una fórmula para eliminar esta enfermedad. Y también 120 años a que ellos tengan interés en trabajar sobre esta enfermedad. Pero hoy tenemos nosotros la capacidad de hacer algo para nuestras familias y amistades. Thank you so much for that call to action, to run, walk, bike, get informed, and enjoy a little bit of a beautiful day in September. So I'm looking forward to seeing folks out there. And do you have any final words for us?
Well, the Jasmine for Sickle Cell, which is at Woolsey Hall at Yale, is going to be black tie preferred because it's going to be the opportunity to dress up, and to celebrate. And so many of the females and maybe some of the males looking forward to having a wonderful night. It's being catered. It's all the things that, we have to relax and enjoy ourselves. And same time, we have to make sure that, we're engaging with each other. But it's an excellent opportunity to look well, to do well, and to contribute to a wonderful cause. Okay.
And what day is the jazz event again?
Oh, it's the evening of. It's the 23rd. It's a continuation of the day.
Very beautiful. The same evening.
Yes.
Beautiful. So after you walk, run, or bike, get trained in CPR, go home, take a nice shower, and get dolled up, dressed up, have a blast, celebrate life. Wow. I need to do this. I need to celebrate this way. In fact, I might invite some friends. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Pues el presidente James Raleigh, antes de terminar, invita a todos a que participen el 23 de septiembre, que en la noche es cuando va a haber un acto musical que no se quieren perder. Va a haber varios cantantes, pero una de las con nombre que muchas personas del mundo jazz conocen, Lisa Folka, va a estar ahí presente para entretenernos y invita a que se pongan su vestuario especial, porque es una noche de gala, una noche especial. Los hombres, mujeres, si quieren con un traje negro, y las mujeres, hombres, si quieren así, porque va a ser una noche de celebración. El 23 de septiembre, celebración de vida y a proteger nuestras vidas con sabiduría, con baile, con comida y en comunidad. Y nos vemos, ojalá, el 23 de septiembre, pero también cada lunes aquí desde New Haven brindamos con ustedes, celebrando a las personas que ayudan a crear un mundo más justo y más gentil, aquí con la voz hispana de Connecticut 103.5 FM. Mi nombre es Caprice. Hasta la próxima. And so thank you all for listening. Look forward to seeing you September 23rd. And I hope to be there. And in fact, I'm going to invite a couple of friends. And I haven't gotten dressed up in a long time. So this getting on the bike.
Wonderful,
I'm going to get on the bike a little more often before the 23rd so I could fit into something that I'll wear on the 23rd.
Bikes have training wheels too, Bikes have training wheels.
That's good. I might have to get a pair.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again. Please, let's make a habit, a tradition out of this right before your big event. Love to have you on the show.
It's partnerships and getting the word out. And matter of fact, I had a young man who is our ambassador. His name is Frank Tavares Mora. And so he's normally my translator. But he is in medical school. And, we have partnered with him, within our community and brought him along. And now he's in medical school. And that's should be a reason why we celebrate.
Yes. And please, on our behalf, thank Frank for all he does in service to community. And we're so grateful that he found his passion, and he's sacrificing quite a bit to become a doctor to save lives. So we wish him the best in his academic career, and we're going to be lucky to have his service in the medical field.
Exactly.
And so thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Hasta la próxima. here live on 103.5 FM, La Voz Hispana de Connecticut. You can also follow us on Facebook. And we'll see you next Monday. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.